and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Today's video, it's a library haul. Now, I've sort of forgotten where I am with library hauls, if I'm being honest. So I've got 4 books that I picked up from the library this week, 2 that I picked up from me other library last week, and then 3 that are just sort of loitering, and I thought I'd show you them anyway. I'll pop them towards the end, and that way if you've seen them you can think, no thanks. But yeah, these 4, the first 6 I'm sure you won't have seen. You might well have seen me mention them in another video, but not in a sort of haul capacity. But stop chatting and get on with it, Lauren. So, 4 books I picked up from my library near my workplace, 2 of which are short bloody returns, which you know how well I get on with short returns. Not very well, but anyway. One that isn't a short return is Idle by Louise O'Neill. I have read a few of Louise O'Neill books. Sometimes I like, sometimes I like almost love, but this one sounded like I was gonna be into it. Part of it is because it's set in the 90s. So it says for Samantha, well, part of it is set in the 90s, not all of it. For Samantha Miller's young fans, she's everything they want to be. She's an oracle, telling them how to be their best true selves. With 3 million followers and a recent #1 bestseller, Sam is more influential than ever. Determined to bear all to her adoring fans, she's written an essay about her sexual awakening as a teenager with her female best friend Lisa. She never told a soul, now she's telling the world. The essay goes viral. But then, years since they last spoke, Lisa gets in touch to say that her memory of the night is far darker. It's Sam's word against Lisa's, so whose truth is really a lie. Sounds really good, doesn't it? So yeah, let's hope this is in the like love section. Next up is a cookbook. I can't recommend highly enough how good it is to be able to get cookbooks out from the library, because they're such a sort of like investment and they cost a fair bit, don't they? It's nice to be able to get a book out and have a little time spending with it, maybe make a thing or 2 out of it before you think, yeah, this is going to be a book that I'm going to dip into a lot. Particularly as I'm a vegetarian, I find that I want to be able to get lots of different books about lots of different cuisines and things like that, and we are getting into a bit of a better, well, we are in a much better situation with vegetarian cookbooks than we used to be. But a book like this, which is called The Art of Friday Night Dinner, Recipes for the Best Night of the Week by Eleanor Stafel. I know that there's meat recipes in here, and I want to know before I buy it that the vegetarian recipes or the meat recipes I can replace with vegetarian stuff is worth me owning it. So being able to do this from the library, lovely. And I mean, this is beautiful. So here we go. Let's have a look at some of these things. So it's in sections. I really like the concept of this, like celebrating a nice dinner. So we've got fried crumbs makes everything better, I agree. Dressing gown dinners, oh my God. Toast, pastas and baked potato for the perfect sofa suppers. Just the 2 of us, seafood and steaks to fall in love over. That's not for I. Come over, I'll cook. Fried things and fizz, birthday Mongolian, go in the whole hog. The midnight frying pan, puddings to eat in the bath. So yeah, it sounds super cozy. The food, like, before I've even got into it, the food photography looks lovely. Looks like there's a lot of candles involved. Right, let's go to the dressing gown dinners, because let's be honest, my whole life is a dressing gown. So, this is toast, pastas and baked potatoes. Let's have a look at some of these. There's a lovely section about reading, and I've just seen one paragraph that starts, now for a word on dressing gowns. So I'm interested in that. So, emergency spaghetti. The Way We Were baked, oh, The Way We Were, that's a Harry Styles song, isn't it? Oh no, she's talking about the film that's got Barbara Streisand in it. Baked potato with hot smoked salmon, sour cream and pickled radishes. I mean, I wouldn't eat that, but lovely. A briny martini. Sardines on toasty, there's a lot of stuff in here that I wouldn't eat. Port and pomegranate, wouldn't drink that because I don't drink booze. Toast with whipped brown butter and little lemony shrimp. Burrata for 1 on toast with marinated anchovies, so I wouldn't do that. Mushrooms with sherry vinegar, potatoes, sour creams and toasted buckwheat. So I like this in that there's like a little paragraph or 2 about the recipe before we go into that. I really like that. Cheese jar potatoes with fennel apple salad. That sounds good. Glazed broccoli with sesame noodles and a crispy egg. Pasta, Bloody Mary rigatoni. Bucatini with mushroom cream and sage. Yeah, I mean, this looks nice. It looks like a nice sort of book to spend some time browsing, which I will do. I've realised I've just done some of that now, but I'll do a bit more of that a bit later on. Then we're on to the 2 books that have got the 2-week fastback load. So this one is the first, is the new Nikki French book, The Favour. Nikki French is a booktube favourite, isn't it, due to my booktube favourite, Jen Campbell, who recommended the Free Decline series. I read those in the first part of, I don't even think it was last year, it might have been the year before, 2021 maybe? Anyway, so now I'm quite into the old Nikki French books, and I think they sort of deliver on a formulaic way. And I don't mean that in a shady way, I mean that in a, I quite enjoy like knowing that we've got a case to solve. Normally there's going to be a female sort of investigator, bit of backstory from them, the case gets solved, all that's clever, like I quite like that. So I got the new book out, The Favour. I've also got it out on audiobook at the moment, so I might dip in between the pair of them to try and get this done quicker. This is due back on the 23rd of May, so I ain't got long. Let's find out what it is about. When Liam unexpectedly turns up in Jude's life after 10 years without contact, asking her for a favour, she can't say no. The Favour. He was her first great love, and even though she is now a junior doctor and about to get married, he will always have a great hold over her. Jude's agreement to help changes her life and plunges her into a world of lies, revenge and criminality. And then when it's too late to change her mind, Jude realises that saying yes to this one favour could cost her everything, even her life. How far would you go for a favour? Doesn't sound as though it's an investigation, does it? It sounds as though it's just an actual thing going on. They do very well. So Nikki French is a husband-wife writing team. They do very well to sort of like churn out a book every year. Let's give it a go. We'll see how we go. 2 weeks, got to get that done. The next one is also a 2-week fastback loan, but I've already started this. I was so pumped for this, and I'm about 40 pages in, 42 pages in, and it's absolutely worth how pumped I was feeling. So this is The Memory of Animals by Claire Fuller. Claire Fuller has written Unsettled Ground, which was shortlisted for the Women's Prize a couple of years ago, and I loved that book. She also wrote Our Endless Number Days, which was another book I really liked, and this one sounds amazing. So I knew there was a new Claire Fuller book coming out, and then I heard Philippa talking about it on her podcast, and she interviewed Claire, and it just sounded amazing. So this is a pandemic novel, and it's a pretty intensio pandemic novel, because it sounds very, it's not called, it's called Dropsy, the pandemic that they're in the middle of, but the sort of setup sounds very sort of like urgent and panicky in the way that parts of our pandemic felt urgent and panicky. So we're following our main character here, whose bloody name I've forgotten, Neffy, and she has given herself over to a clinical trial where she will be injected with a vaccine against the virus that's in this book, and then injected with the virus. And she's gone to like the place where she's having that done, and it's sort of like a private hospital, and she's going to get paid quite a nice amount, and they're looking after her and doing her nice dinners and all this sort of thing. And then now things seem to have gone to shit, and like it seems that she's in central London and she's looked out the window and there's a deer outside, and she hasn't seen anyone walk past, and she used to be able to see somebody from her window that living their lives, and she can't see them anymore, and like she wonders what's going on. But then this is also interspersed with information about an octopus, and yeah, and that's going to be looked into deeper. So I'm very much enjoying it. Yeah, it's very good. I want to sort of read it now, if I'm being honest. Then 2 books from my other library. Another one that, so I've just, as I said, I've started reading this. Another book I've started reading as well is Send Nudes by Saba Sams. I'm in the middle of filming a reading vlog about short story reading and reading short stories, because short stories are always something that I'd like to get a little bit more into, but I don't feel like I give them the attention and detail like they sort of deserve. So I asked you guys on Instagram what would be your best tips for reading short stories, and you come back to me with some really good stuff that I hadn't considered, stuff that I had considered, and I've sort of collated it all in a reading vlog and employed those tips when I've been reading this collection of short stories. There's 10 in there and I've got 4 left. One of the tips was to do little tabs as to where the stories start and end, like the next story, and I found that really helpful. But I've been very, very much enjoying this collection of short stories, and I don't know if that is because I've been spending the time on it, extra time on it, compared to what I've done in the past with short story collections, or if it's because it's just a bloody good short story collection. But yeah, I'm very much enjoying sort of picking out the links between them. There's a lot of themes in here of sort of betrayal, and animals feature quite heavily, and friendship and obsession, and also all while sort of like going out and being young, that sort of thing is in there as well. So yeah, I'm having a really good time with this, but more on that when I finished it, but enjoyed. Then I've also got this from the library, Rootless by Crystal Zara Apaya. There are 2 sides to every story. Weirdly, not weirdly, I mean, but it's got a quote by Louise O'Neill at the top. Teenagers Effie and Sam first meet in London in the 90s. Love a book set in the 90s. Years later, the best friends are married. Their love story couldn't seem more perfect. But Sam wants to start a family while Effie wants to be free to focus on her dreams. Then an unplanned pregnancy forces them to confront just how radically different they want their lives to be. Now Effie and Sam must discover if what they really want is still each other. It says, a heart-rending love story about a British Ghanaian marriage in crisis. Rootless asks, what happens when 2 people in love want completely different things? And what do you do if you have to choose between your dreams and someone else's? It sounds really good. I think I was the first person to get this book from the library. Hurrah for me. Good. Right, and then the last 3 are ones that may well have popped up in reading vlogs, or maybe I've even hauled them. I couldn't find any details of them. The first one is A Lonely Planet Guide to Norway. You will well know David and I are going on our honeymoon this summer to Norway, and I've been very much looking forward to having a little look at some of the places we're going and what happens there. So yeah, I need a proper good... David and I are hopefully having a bit of a sort of like honeymoon planning evening tonight, working out what we want to do and stuff like that, so we may well be using this tonight. And then I've got Yinka, Where Is Your Husband by Lizzie Damilola Blackburn. Romance, this is. Yinka wants to find love. Her mum wants to find it for her, but how can she find a husband when she is surrounded by her many aunties who frequently and loudly pray for her delivery from singledom, has a preference for chicken and chips over traditional Nigerian food, and a bum she's sure is far too small as a result. Oh, and the fact that she's a 31-year-old South Londoner who doesn't believe in sex before marriage is a bit of an obstacle too. When her cousin gets engaged, Yinka commences Operation Find a Date for Rachel's wedding. Armed with a totally flawless and incredibly specific plan, how will Yinka find herself a husband? What if the thing she really needs to find, ... is herself? Sounds great, doesn't it? And then I've got Maame by Jessica George, which I'm also really excited to read. Oh, this says it's due back on... Oh no, I've already renewed it, it's fine. I was like, this says it's due back, but I've already renewed it, no worries. Maame has many meanings in Twi, but in my case it means woman. Meet Maddie Wright. I assume this is Maddie here. All her life she's been told who she is to her Ghanaian parents. Another Ghanaian book. She's Maame, the one who takes care of the family, her mum's stand-in, her dad's carer, the one who keeps the peace and the secrets. It's time for her to speak up. When she finally gets the chance to leave home, Maddie is determined to become the woman she wants to be. One who wears a bright yellow suit, orange suit on the front, one who stands up to her boss and dates men who definitely aren't on her mum's list of prospective husbands. Someone who doesn't have to Google all her life choices, but when tragedy strikes, Maddie is forced to face the risks and rewards of putting her heart on the line. Will it take losing everything to find her voice? I think that sounds really fun too. So yeah, great lot of books from the library. Do love it when the library really comes up tops. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what books you've got out from your library recently. Looking forward to hearing library chat as ever in the comments, and I'll see you all soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!